It's Saturday morning in Italy, and you're listening to the Magic Towns Italy podcast.
Welcome back to Magic Towns Italy. I'm Luca, and this week Anna sat down with Jaid Newstead. She's a Canadian who landed in Bari, in Puglia, just 2 years ago on a youth mobility visa, knew nobody, spoke zero Italian, and somehow she made it. And this is a great conversation about what actually happens when you follow through on that "it is right for me" feeling. Before we get into this week on the website, we published the full guide to getting a residency permit, which is basically the document that Jade spends a good chunk of the episode talking about and stressing out about. That's worth bookmarking if you're planning a move. We've also published a expat population analysis, which tracks where foreigners have been settling down in Italy over the past few years, which parts of Italy are growing, which ones are neglected. And I think you'll find this surprising, and you certainly won't find it anywhere else. Links in the show notes, and now the interview with Jade.
Tell me a bit about your story. What was your life like in Toronto before you moved to Italy?
I'm 35 now. So I moved to Toronto and I spent from 19 until 33 there. So in my 20s, it was good for me because I came from a very small country town. So moving to the big city, you're kind of like a sponge. You're very moldable. You're still trying to understand who you are. So for that, I really loved my life in Toronto, meeting people, doing the grind, going out every night. So I loved it. But then when I started nearing my 30s, I started to feel a shift inside that I was like, I don't know if this is like the lifestyle that I want to continue to do. So I was like, okay, like I'm not feeling connected and I don't know how to reconnect. So I tried to pick up hobbies, volleyball, embroidering, painting. I was trying to just find new avenues to like reconnect. And it just wasn't happening. And then I was working a lot too. I got a job at an ad agency, but the pay was horrible. So I had to continue to work a second job, like another full-time job, basically, just to make ends meet. So that in itself, I was burnt out a lot and trying to figure out who I am, who I want to be in this next chapter of my life. It was very hard to juggle. And then, yeah, I just kind of had a moment where I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Italy because the advertising job, I was able to work remotely for 5 weeks. So, yeah, I was like, I'm going to go to Italy. Like, why not? Let's
Love
go.
the word.
Andiamo. So then,
Mhm.
yeah, I went and it was interesting because obviously with the time change, I was working, I was 6 hours ahead. So I had my whole mornings up until 3 p.m. to like wake up, go for walks, enjoy, like sightsee, swim in the sea. And I just loved it so much. I spent about almost 2 weeks in Puglia. And in that moment, I felt, okay, I'm connecting with me. Like I'm feeling like I'm getting to meet the next chapter of me. So when I got back to Toronto, I was like, okay, maybe that was just like, the holiday, eat, pray, love. So in a month after I landed, I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to move there. And within 6 months, I was here.
Within 6 months.
So yeah, it was hot and heavy, 7 months, but I don't know. I felt like it just was the right thing to do for me.
Mhm.
And it was. This was the first time I actually ever trusted my gut in doing something. And it's so amazing what really happens when you listen to your body, listen to your mind. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm still here after 2 years. Like, I met Giovanni, my boyfriend, like the love of my
Mhm.
life, like literally the most amazing person ever. I'm working a really great job in weddings now. I'm meeting people and I'm feeling good. And I haven't felt that in so long.
I feel like when you follow your instinct, like you gain such a confidence on your own choices.
For sure, and it's
So
so interesting because I always get messages from people, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. I'm so unhappy here." And I'm like, if you fully know and you're so unhappy, like, we have one little tiny life to live. Why not make it the biggest life you can live?
I feel like there's a point of your life when you just have to do that.
Yeah, like, I wasn't tied to anything. Like, I was single. I had no kid like, I have no kids. There's a lot of things that made it a little bit easier for me to make the jump.
And why Bari specifically?
When I spent my like 2 weeks in Puglia, which was in Monopoly, I was single. So I was meeting people, but one of them, we just became friends kind of. And when I moved back, we kept in touch. Well, I wanted to move to Monopoly, but he was like, Monopoly's amazing, but it's like a summer town. Like outside of that, it's not going to be busy. He was like, go to Bari. Like it's the capital of Puglia, very busy, more opportunities to meet people. And I'm like, okay. I didn't even look up the city. I had no idea what I was looking at. So really, when I landed, I was like, okay, well, I'm here. Like, what do I do? Let's figure it out. Like, yeah, it was very, very interesting.
And like, how did it work? Like, for example, what visa did you choose?
I just had turned 34 and I came over on the youth mobility visa. So for Canadians and Australians, you can apply up until your 35th year of age. So I was like, okay, if I don't apply for this now, I'm going to literally regret it for the rest of my life. So I came here thinking I was going to be here for 1 year. And it was honestly a very easy visa to get. I finally applied on a Monday and the Friday I got my visa and I was expecting it to take a couple months. Yeah, it was very easy. I don't think it cost much. Obviously, like health insurance, having like the appropriate amount of savings, which I did. Like there's those like little things, but the visa in itself was very easy on the Canadian side. Activating it here in Bari was long. So when I went to the Questura, I dressed up in the cutest little outfit to go. I was like, I'm going to the Questura. And I get there and it was hordes of people waving papers and I spoke zero Italian. They were really, really nice, but I don't think they heard of this visa. So they had to call the boss way up to be like, what is this? So I was like, okay, I probably am going home in like two. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was definitely very stressful because I wanted to enjoy landing and being here and getting to figure it out. But my mind was so focused on this that I cried a lot when I first arrived because it was truly very stressful. I thought I was going to be homeless because I couldn't find an apartment because on the Canada side, it was so easy, organized, perfect word. Here, it was like there was papers flying from the walls. I was like, why is there no computers being used? One,
How did you speak with each other? Like using Google Translator or it just
thankfully, the lady spoke enough English that we could get by. I think I really lucked out with her, really. And she was so nice too. So, like, I felt like I'm okay, you're my little angel. And then now I'm on, because that visa obviously expired because I'm on year 2. My partner and I, Giovanni, we applied for the convivenza di fatto. So now we're family. So now I'm on a 5-year visa that's renewable. So that's easy.
I want to hear the full story of how you met.
Maybe a week after I arrived, I went to a little restaurant near where I was living, literally around the corner. Had a little wine, a little tarali, da 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 da. And the manager, he was like, "Oh, what are you here, vacation?" I'm like, "No, I just moved here." And he was like, "Okay, like, are you working? Are you like," and I was like, "No, I'm actually going to be looking for a job." And then he genuinely was like, "Do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Okay." Yeah, because tourism is expanding in Puglia. So having an English speaker is always
Mhm.
nice. So I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "Okay, come in tomorrow with your resume. You can meet the owner." He's like, "You speak a little bit of Italian, right?" And I'm like, "See." So I was on Duolingo for like 4 hours that night. I'm like, "Okay, I need to know."
Who is
Yeah.
that?
Bene, grazie, sì, prego. Like, vino.
The most important.
The most important. So yeah, then I started working there. And then my partner came in like a few months later and he was sitting at a table, but he was sitting with a woman. And I was like, okay, typical Italian man with their girlfriend looking at other women. I'm like, no, but he was very cute. And then I found out it was his sister. And then a couple months later, he dipped into my DMs and because I saw him at a bar and he said "Buonasera" and I replied in English. So he was like, "No, no, no, ho sbagliato, scusa, like I'm wrong. I don't know you." So I was like, "Okay." And then a month later, he like messaged me on Instagram and it was like, I'm so sorry. I know who you are now. I remember you. Da, 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 da. Then we went for a drink and we've literally been together since. Like, genuinely, it's crazy.
Basically,
Very-
the first month when you moved there.
Yeah, well, I was like, I am not, I'm only here for 1 year. I'm here to learn about me. I'm not dating any men anymore. Like, no. And then Giovanni,
When July appeared,
it's
always like this.
I know. But it was
Yeah.
funny because it was September when we started actually dating, and then my visa was expiring in May. So I was like, okay, well, I have to go back to Canada. And I'm like, or we can do this and just see. I don't want to be with you for this. Like, I'm okay to go back. So we talked a lot about that because I really wanted to make it clear, like, I don't want to date you to stay because I think a lot of people do that. So it was a running joke for a while, but now obviously he knows that.
And going back, how was finding an apartment, for example? Was it difficult to rent as a foreigner?
I was trying to find a long term when I was in Toronto still, and nobody was responding. I maybe got 2 responses out of like 200. So then thankfully, this job, my manager, he was like, okay, let's get you a real estate agent. And I was like, okay, perfect. So got a real estate agent. And what threw me is because in Canada, the renter doesn't pay the real estate agent. They get the commission from whoever owns the apartment. And then you have to pay 3 months here, whereas I thought it was 2 months. Okay, so I have to pay 3 months of rent, and then I have to also pay another month's of rent as payment to the real estate agent. So I was like, okay, I'm broke now and I just got here. No, it was really, really stressful. But having the real estate agent was really good in terms of mediating, especially obviously I couldn't really speak Italian at all. So that helped. But the whole process was long and time I felt was ticking because too, I needed to have a long term in terms of giving me the residency. So it was just like very, very heavy. But especially here in Southern Italy, I feel like they prefer to meet in person as opposed to checking an email. Okay. Like they're very people focused. So leaning on people was a lot. I think that's, yeah, truly one of the reasons why I was able to find a place. But the banking was interesting. Maybe that could be good for people to understand. I actually didn't open a bank account here because it was so expensive as a foreigner. They gave me a foreigner rate, which was like 30 euros a month. And then every time I used my card was 1 euro. So I ended up using Wise. I don't even know if I pay, maybe I do, but I think it's very minimal. Same with getting a phone number here. I came over on an eSIM, but the eSIM was set to France. I don't know why. I didn't realize the area code was different. And then to get the actual phone number, I couldn't talk to anybody on the phone. I couldn't WhatsApp. They have to like, no, you have to come in person. But yeah, those little things really took a long time to do in comparison to how long it would take in Canada.
Yeah. That was probably one of the main culture shocks that you had
For
coming.
sure. And going even to the post office when the doors, the security doors that you have to go one at a time in, like why that? No. And it's always so crazy busy. And there, like, it was so weird. I was like, what the heck is happening in here? It's like a little party at 9 a.m. Really weird.
What Italian habit felt strange at first, but now feels normal?
I think a lot of it has to do with food, like eating dinner at 9:30, 10. When I'm used to having it before at like 6, I would be like starving and I'm like, okay, I guess I have to wait another 3 hours to eat. So that one was weird, but now my body's thankfully adjusted. And just too, like the amount of food, the pace of eating as well, like a lunch being 5 hours long is like very normal. Um, yeah, a lot of the weird things always had to do with food and like how we ate, what we ate. We're not eating this food on this day because of this holiday or this religion. So it's been very interesting navigating the culture. And then too, like how slow people walk down here, how narrow the sidewalks are, the stores being closed here from like 1:30 to 4. Now I can plan my day a little bit better, but I feel like everything was different.
And when did you start sharing your life on Instagram?
Well, right when I moved, so about like 2 years ago, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm here alone. I have no friends. I might as well just talk to my camera and post it. And then to keep people back home up to date in a way.
And what kind of people do you think would love Bari, and what kind of person might struggle there?
I think the type of people that should move to Bari are the ones that want to slow down a little bit in life. We're by the sea, the produce is, do you know what I mean? Everything moves at a very slower pace. So I think for someone that's ready to slow down and kind of get out of the grind and take time to reconfigure your life, who you are, how you feel, I think it's really good for that type of person. I've never had a big social circle. I like keeping it small. I have maybe one core friend. So I'm okay with being alone. I enjoy it. But I think for some people that are used to socializing all the time, it takes a little bit of time to build that. And I think if you're expecting it right away, Bari's not the place. Here, especially in the winter, nothing is happening. It's very slow. So yeah, I'm not an introvert, but someone that's okay to be alone would
Mhm.
thrive here.
Yeah, maybe there are already like group of friends that are made, and maybe it's a bit difficult to.
Yeah, like it's interesting. Giovanni, most of his friends, they've been friends since they were like 3 years old. Do you know what I mean? People here have a lot of history, so it takes quite a bit to get through, I think.
To integrate. Maybe it's also because not everyone speaks English. Yeah, how is your relationship with the language now?
It's getting
Before,
better. I keep having to ask Giovanni. I'm like, "Ti prego, parliamo in Italiano," and then we'll last 2 minutes, and then he always goes back to English, and I'm like, "I'm the English speaker. I should be the one going back to English." Like, so I'm trying really hard with him, but when we go out for dinners, I only speak Italian horribly, but it's getting better slowly. Wine helps so much.
oh, it's worse.
I'm fluent after a couple glasses. Then the next day, I'm like, what the hell was I saying? Like, nothing made sense. But no, it's getting better. My job, I work in weddings, but most of the clients are international English speakers. So I'm speaking English a lot with them. At work, they all are Italian because they're all from here, but they still speak English. Now they are typically only speaking to me in Italian. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't know what you want from me, but
But are there that many expats in Bari?
there's a handful, not too many. Like there's a couple people that I know in the area. One, she's been living here for 17 years. She's from Canada. Another lady as well. She's an officiant and also like a wedding planner. She's from the UK. She's been living here for, I think, 20 years as well, or something like that. So I know people that just have moved here, a couple, and then others I know moved here way, 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 way back before moving to this area was known. But I think, yeah, not too many.
So how has Italy changed you?
In a lot of ways, I think in terms of like even my communication style, how I express myself, I find I'm much more calm. Like it takes a lot for me to get like riled up now. I feel lighter in general. I feel like connected to myself, happier,
And
obviously.
is there something that you miss about Canada, or do you feel like you're in the right place?
I'm in the right place. Like I miss my friends and family, but no, I don't think there's anything I miss. Like the food scene in Toronto is incredible. Italian food's amazing, but like I need a little bit of a mix. And there's
Mm.
not many options here in Bari. So
There must be a sushi restaurant in Bari, I'm
so
sure.
it's either sushi, Italian, or kebab.
Yeah. And what would you tell someone who wants to move but is scared to start?
I think it goes back to like trusting your gut and following that. Like if you're having a hesitation, I think it's so important to reconnect with the thought that you had, like the motivation, the thing that's fueling you. I think that's what got me to get here. Cause obviously it wasn't, okay, I'm moving and everything was easy. It was very hard. I remember crying when I had to like leave my apartment. I was like, what am I doing? Like there was so much doubt. But then I'm like, okay, why did I make this decision? And I had to go all the way back and kind of get back in that mindset. So I think when you feel it really, really deep in your bones and inner self that this is the decision for you, it's really important to one, understand that. And when you kind of like flutter away from it, to recenter yourself.
There must be a reason if you feel
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to hear your story.
That was Jade. You can find her on Instagram. If a visa story resonated, our Permesso di Soggiorno Residency Permit guide published this week covers the full process step by step. And if you've been following the 7% flat tax scheme, the one designed to pull foreign retirees into southern Italy, we published a piece last week asking whether it's actually working. And we used plenty of data to tell you exactly how it is. Spoiler, it is complicated. All the links are in the show notes. See you next week.
That's it for this week on Magic Towns Italy. You can create a free account at magictowns.it and explore over 2,000 towns, including those offering the 7% tax scheme, as well as download dozens of expat guides. We have over 200 data points per town, more than Italy's Statistics Authority itself, covering everything from property prices to schools, healthcare, crime, and more. If you want full access to filters and unlimited searches, upgrade to Magic Towns Premium. Use the code podcast for 20% off an annual plan. Thanks for listening. Our next podcast will be live on Saturday at 9 a.m.